Question 10 is a differential equations question. It tells us so in the question. And if you look at what we've got here, we've got a dh by dt. And that is equal to something to do with h and t. So in order to get an equation, to get something to do with a h and a t, we're going to need to integrate the h's and the t's. And we need to separate them out. I need to move the h to the left and the dt to the right. So when I divide by h, I'm going to get 1 over h. What I'm also going to do is times by 40. I always prefer to have any constants like this at the start of a question on the top of a fraction rather than leaving them under here as a denominator. As a rule of thumb, that's a really useful rule to have. So if you remember to do that, it will often make your calculations easier. So I've now got 40 over h dh and cos of 0.25t dt. I'll just move the equal sign over so it's not so squashed together. Once we've separated the variables, we can then integrate both sides. Integrating this is going to give me a 40 natural log h. H is the height above ground, so h will always be positive, which means I don't need log signs around my h, mod signs around my h. Integrating cos is sine. I've got a 0.25, so I'm going to need to divide by that 0.25. Dividing by 0.25 is the same as timesing by 4 though. So that gives me, don't forget your plus c as well, 4 sine 0.25t plus c. We need to find this c value, but it says that the passenger is 5 metres above the ground at the start of the ride, and t represents the time after the start of the ride. So we can say that when t is equal to 0, h is equal to 5. That's going to allow us to find c. So we can put that 40 ln 5 needs to equal 4 times sine of 0. Sine of 0 is 0. So c is 40, my c is 40 ln 5. Now you might have a different c if you didn't bring this 40 up. If you left your 40 down here, you'll have a slightly different c. But everything will be the same once that all cancels down. So we can now write down that 40 ln h is equal to 4 sine 0.25t plus 40 ln 5. We are going to need to divide by 40 to get this h on its own. So in hindsight, it wasn't actually easier to bring the 40 up in this case, but usually it is. So dividing by 40, I'm going to have a tenth here. So a tenth, or 0.1 sine 0.25t plus ln 5. And we know that if we have the natural log of something is equal to a value, then e to that value is equal to y. So my y in this case is my h. So I can now finally write that h is equal to e to all of this. 0.1 sine 0.25t plus ln 5. Now, that's not quite what they've got. They've got something a little bit different. So we've got a little bit more work to do, but not much. What they've done next, or what we can do next, is use the index rules that you learn in like Key Stage 3. We can use the fact that x to the power of a times x to the power of b is the same as x to the power of a plus b. We've got a power with a plus in the middle. So we can change that to e to the 0.1 sine 0.25t times e to the natural log of 5. E to the natural log of 5 is 5. If you e a natural log, or if you natural log an e, it undoes itself, they're inverses, so this is just 5. So that's what we're after, the 5 times e to the 0.1 sine 0.25t. Okay, for part B, to state the maximum height of the passenger from the ground, E's exponential functions are increasing functions, so this just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So the biggest that this value will be will depend on what this power is. And we've got a sine wave in here. So the biggest value that sine can be, the max value of this is 1. The biggest value that can be is 1. So the biggest height that we can get will be 5 times e to the 0.1 times 1, which is just going to be 5 e to the 0.1. So 5 times e to the 0.1 is 5.53 meters. C then says that that maximum height that we found here, that 5.53, is reached for a second time at time t. So if you think about the sine wave, we've said that that maximum value has happened here at this 1. That's for little t, or in fact it's for 0.25 little t. So we know that that's at pi over 2. So we want to know the next time that will happen. That will happen over here at 5 pi over 2. So when 0.25t is equal to 5 pi over 2, we'll get our next maximum height. If I times by 4, that will give us the big T value. Which is going to be 10 pi. So that's 31.4 seconds.